Hey, Jeff here with Realwired, and we're talking about indispensable appraisers. Yes, we're talking about bringing back some enthusiasm, connection, and just some mojo back into our industry. So today, what are we talking about? We are talking about productivity in your inbox. So I think it's very comfortable and easy to come into your office every day, whether you're a fee or a bank appraiser. And what's the first thing you do? You check your inbox. That is, I won't say it's the worst, but it is probably the biggest hurdle of your productivity is being dictated by other people's schedule. So think about it. When you open up your inbox, you don't know what you're going to get. It's just a mixture of marketing stuff. It's maybe some friends and family stuff. It could be some people internally on your team, on your staff. It could be anything. And then you start to go one by one and start reacting. When you get to something that takes 5 minutes, it could take you down a rabbit hole of 30 minutes. You might look up and it's 10:30. Did you really get done what you wanted to get done? Are you in control of your calendars? So I'd like to start there with the calendar. I think that's the number one productivity idea out there. And what do I mean by the calendar? Well, the calendar sets what you actually get done. And yes, it can't be super rigid. Obviously, you need the flexibility of your calendar to get things done. But if you color code your calendar for the entire week, so if you've read Michael Gerber's The E-Myth, they break down businesses into categories. And the concept of E-Myth is excellent for appraisal firms and for chief appraisers, appraisal managers, because it breaks down your time into different buckets that are not just tactical. It affords you the time to think strategic. So on the E-Myth, you might break down your activities into marketing, sales, client fulfillment, finance, leadership, HR, what have you. So the issue with many of us in the valuation space is that we are stuck in client fulfillment, meaning all we do is appraisals, either ordering appraisals, reviewing appraisals, writing appraisals, doing validations, working with your staff on where are we with that appraisal. The RM is calling me about that loan. We're reacting to just the day-to-day work, right? You might have to deal with appraisal bias at your bank. It's all normal stuff. But if you're just constantly reacting to your inbox and to phone calls and emails and texts, you're really not in control of your productivity, which is what I'm talking about. So if on your calendar, if you block out some time, first I would do an audit. You might be surprised what you really are doing in a given week, activity-wise. You might guess, yeah, I just do appraisal stuff, but there's probably a lot more wasted time. I'm guilty of looking at Facebook throughout the day here and there, or LinkedIn or what have you, or playing with AI. I love doing that. But if you color coded first what you did for this week. So let's take today's Monday. For this week, try this challenge for you. Color code in 15-minute increments, I would say increments, of what is the activity. Is it tactical or is it strategic? And then look at that ratio. You might be surprised you're doing very little, maybe no strategic vision. Where do you want to take your appraisal department? Where do you want to take your appraisal firm? Otherwise, we just sit down and work with our heads down, and we're doing the same thing week in and week out. And I think that gets back to the lacking of enthusiasm with appraisers. Next, I want you to then go back and take the next week and put in the activities and put color codes, a color for marketing, a color for sales, a color for finance, a color for leadership, a color for HR, any of those activities. And then after that week, take a step back and see, wow, you might be surprised at what you spend a lot of time. As an appraisal manager, chief appraiser, you might be spending a lot of time working with your people. Maybe some training issues, maybe you need to hire some folks because some people left you, or what have you. So you might be surprised, at the color code and where your time is actually being spent. But if you can take a step back and not react to your calendar. So first thing in your morning, you should have already done a tick list, ideally the night before. So what is a tick list? A tick list is write down all the things that you're currently working on, right? Just list them all out. And what a tick list is, you go from, let's say you have 10 items. So you're going to take item number 1, compare it to number 2. So let's say item number 2 is more important. So you put a checklist, a little check mark next to number 2. Then you go item number 1 to item number 3. And let's say it's number 1 is more important. 1 and 4, 1 and 5, 1 and 6, 1 and 7, 1 and 8, 1 and 9, 1 and 10. When you're done, go to number 2. Compare 2 to 3, 2 to 4, 2 to 5. After you go all the way down, 3 to 4, 3 to 5, 3 to 6. You get the idea. So when you've done that, you've done a weighted average of really what's important for you that day, because it'll have the most amount of check boxes. So today, the being aware of your calendar and then prioritizing what you need to get done. Yes, you have to look at email. You might, if you want to. Some people scan it in the morning, look for anything on fire, not the low-hanging fruit, not the low priority, low impact stuff, but they really just look at the easy stuff. You really want to resist that urge to just fire off the easy stuff. Because again, you get sucked down in the rabbit hole of your inbox. So you might want to start your day, scan for anything on fire, and then maybe schedule every 2 hours you look at your email. And you can, depending on your internal and external staff, you might have SLA, service level agreements, as to when people expect you to react. I think one big mistake in businesses is to expect an immediacy, right? So if I sent you an email and you haven't responded in 5 minutes, am I going to call you? Am I going to ping you on Slack or Teams or whatever you guys use? Again, you have to be real with your people, how you work, and expectations of how quickly should and do I really need to respond to you pinging me? And lastly, I'll leave you with a concept of and this is really cool, seems a little out there, but is to pre-plan, just like we just pre-planned a week, right? We did, first of all, you're aware of how much stuff is just tactical day-to-day stuff and how much of it is strategic. Strategic is really the value where the money is, right? It's what will bring you productivity, lack of stress, work-life balance. I don't know if that's really real. If you enjoy your work, you don't really need to balance it, but it will really bring you a lot of productivity if you get back in control of your calendar. So consider putting a large calendar. We have one on our wall. It's about the size of a mirror, and you preset your year, not week, not month, but the entire year. And the point of this is to have when you look back at the year, you've done some amazing things. So the first thing you might want to do is personal vacations, friends and family time, right? So color code all your vacations throughout the entire year. Yes, it can move. It's not fixed in stone, but put and get the number of weeks that you want to have vacation, whether you're traveling internationally or just local stuff with the friends and family. Put it on there, and you'll be surprised at going, wow, I don't take enough time off, or wow, I think if I do this right with productivity, I can take a number of weeks off and still be effective, right? And then you intersprinkle some leadership classes, some business development, improvement, those type of things. Then you put on other milestones that's important for your bank or your appraisal firm that you'd like to achieve. Like, let's say you have a quarterly game plan session with your staff. Put that on there, every 3 months. So when you take a step back from your yearly calendar, you're like, wow, I'm going to take off 4, 5, 6 weeks this year. It's sprinkled throughout the year. So it works for the workload. You're communicating your SLAs with your staff, so you're not creating any friction or any stress with your team members. And then you can share that with your staff so they know, oh, wow, okay, these people are going to be out of town for this and this date. So I really think, getting back to your inbox is yours. Don't react to other people's wants. That's a monkey on your back. If they've given you, hey, can you help me out here, Jeff? Hey, Jeff, can you help me with this? What do you think about this? Those are monkeys that are putting on me. Can I push back to my staff and say, we have a playbook for that, or can you handle that? Or it's not to be unhelpful. The point is to take control of your calendar and don't let the inbox be a huge distraction. Anyway, that's it for today. Hope you guys have an awesome week. See ya.